Hello VC, Roger back here for another video. This one I'm going to be doing the 2022 movie soundtrack vinyl tag redo. I saw Beth posted this, Beth over at Miss 80s Movies and Music, and she was talking about how she had got with Brandon over Mr. Hall of Fame, and the two of them had kind of worked out some questions, used some from the past, and soundtrack tag that was made a couple of years ago, and changed some of them up and did a new list. And I'm going to jump on this just opportunity to show some of my records and my soundtracks. I don't show that much, so I'm going to jump in on this. First question was, how many soundtrack scores do we own? Well, in my Discogs I do have a section for soundtracks. And when I first looked at it, I saw how many was in there, and it said 81. So, okay, 81. I wrote that down. Then as I started going down answering these questions, I got to thinking, oh, wait, I have some that's not listed under soundtracks. What about my Beatles scores? What about my Elvis Presley scores, soundtracks? What about Flash Gordon from Queen? I've got those listed with the individual groups or bands or individuals. So I had to go back and I went through my collection real quick and ended up coming up with 110 soundtracks. So I ended up with quite a bit more than I realized I had. First question was the first soundtrack we ever bought. And I'm going to consider this bought. The first one I picked up, actually I traded for. I had a couple of disco that I'd picked up just because I knew the songs on the radio and everything, but I was not into disco, could care less about it. I'd got them because I was in the Columbia House Record Club, and so I was like, I don't like these. I don't know why I picked them up, because I knew one song on them, and I thought, well, that's good enough for me at the time. But I was getting into Jimi Hendrix and some other groups, and found out there was a place in Lubbock that would trade I can't even remember now. This was when I was still in school. So it was like a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 trade of vinyl. And so I went in there with a stack, and one of the deals I traded for was Jimi Hendrix Rainbow Bridge, which was a soundtrack. So this has got to be the first one I can think of that I bought or traded for. Biggest song I can think of off of this is Dolly Dagger. That was the one of them I liked. It does have Star Spangled Banner on here as well. So Hear My Train A-Comin', that's a good one too. So anyway, couple of good ones on there. Other than that, I didn't really care that much about it. I did see the movie. Didn't care that much about the movie either. At one time I had it on a DVD, and I don't know what happened to it. It's long gone. But anyway, first one I bought right there. Most recent, and this one I picked up, about a month ago, couple of months ago maybe. Went to an estate sale that had some records, and this was one of the ones on the very top, and I grabbed it because I've always wanted it but never had it. The Breakfast Club. So I was able to finally pick that one up and add to my collection. Next, most listened to soundtrack, and this was probably the second or third soundtrack I ever bought, and I've listened to it and listened to it. I still go back periodically and listen to it, and that's the soundtrack to Woodstock, the original release. Just a great live performance concert, but it was made a movie, and it does a original soundtrack. So there we go. I've listened to that one a ton. Uh, Number 5, Best Opening Soundtrack Song. It's also the title song to the movie. Well, I say that. I thought that was the opening song. Looking at the back, that's not what it is. Where's it have it? Yeah, it is. Here's the listing right there. So, FM, the song FM from Steely Dan. Had a lot of different acts come up in this one. Boston, Jimmy Buffett, Doobie Brothers, Eagles, Dan Fogerty, Foreigner, Billy Joel, Randy Meisner, Steve Miller, Tom Petty, Queen, Linda Ronstadt, Boz Scaggs, Bob Seger again. Or no, that's the first one. Steely Dan, James Taylor, Joe Walsh. Bunch of great songs, great hits. Just a good, solid record all the way through. Number 6. Favorite composer and score piece. I went that as a true composer, not a like those individuals or like Queen did Flash Gordon. And I'm going with Elmer Bernstein. And he did the soundtrack for True Grit. I am a big fan of the old-time Western movies. I say old-time, 60s, 70s Westerns. I have several soundtracks. And this one, of course, has Glenn Campbell that sings the title track on here. Very good record. Album or a soundtrack that was better. No, the movie was better than the soundtrack. I'm sorry. Movie was better than the soundtrack. I picked this up on a blind buy because I knew the movie. Capricorn 1. Love the movie. James Brolin, O.J. Simpson. Very good movie. I could care less about this soundtrack though. I thought I would like it, and I may have to give it another spin or two to see what I think about it. It's music is composed by Jerry Goldsmith, and I have some other stuff by him that I like, and that's one reason I went ahead and picked it up too. But I don't know, the time or two that I've spun that, it just didn't click with me. Okay, one that the soundtrack is better than the movie. I could have picked several on this one, and a lot of people don't like what I'm about to show, but Elvis Presley, King Creole. Some of his movies are just too cheesy, but this one has a great soundtrack to it. It does have the big hit King Creole on it, Hard-Headed Woman, Trouble, all very good. And Crawfish, I like that song. That's a good song. Crawfish. And the movie does have Carolyn Jones. Here she is from the Addams Family. And of course, Walter Matthau. But anyway, Elvis on that one. Album that we like, the soundtrack album that we like the cover of, or what was it? Like the cover of, or the vinyl of, or just the general artwork of. In this one, I like it in its simplicity, and that's the soundtrack to Coma. I think that cover is just pretty cool looking. And it's got the man, I don't know if you can see, got the wires and stuff that he's hanging in a comatose state from the word coma. But oh, speaking of Jerry Goldsmith, this was another one Jerry Goldsmith did. Now I kind of like this soundtrack a little bit compared to the Capricorn 1. So Coma. Dollar Bin. We see this everywhere, and it's a great song. The title track is great. And the rest of the record's not too bad either. Henry Mancini, the Pink Panther. Great song. I like a lot of Henry Mancini stuff. Inspector Clouseau. Soundtrack that includes favorite artist or band. As a band, they are not included on here, but most of the members are included on here, and that's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's got, which y'all know I'm an Eagles fan, and it does have Don Felder, Don Henley, Joe Walsh, Timothy B. Schmidt, along with Jackson Brown, Jimmy Buffett, Sammy Hagar, Go-Go's, Graham Nash, Poco, Quarterflash, Stevie Nicks, Donna Summer, Billy Squire. Just a great record. There you can see who all's in it, some of the titles. Just a very good soundtrack. A soundtrack featuring an actor from the movie. So an actor that was in the movie that actually sang on the... And I'm going Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and I'm not going because of Dolly Parton, even though she acted in it. The third song, Sneaking Around, does have Burt Reynolds singing on it. And the fourth song, Watch Your Dog Report, Texas Has a Whorehouse in it, has Dom DeLuise in it. So, see that? Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Even though I could have went Dolly Parton because she did act in it, but she's known more as the singer, not the actress. Now vice versa, a band that appeared in the movie, band or artist. And this is kind of almost the same way as the Dolly Parton. I almost hate to use this, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Grease, Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, both sang and were in the movie. I guess I could go Frankie Valli. He appeared in the movie with the title song Grease. And Frankie Avalon appeared with the song Beauty School Dropout. He appeared in the movie. So, Grease. Last movie we watched that I have the soundtrack to. I had to change this one just a while ago. I had MASH down because I think that was the last one I had watched that I actually had the soundtrack to. And then tonight, on TV, we happened to see the movie and started watching it, To Kill a Mockingbird. The classic. Another one of those by Elmer Bernstein. Great soundtrack. To Kill a Mockingbird. A Record Store Day soundtrack. This is one I can't answer. I don't have anything Record Store Day. I don't get into the Record Store Day. I don't go out to it. I don't have any Record Store Day vinyl. Soundtrack from the year I was born. I didn't think I was going to be able to answer this one. I was born in 1964. But I did have one. Goldfinger. Soundtrack. I do have a couple of the James Bond soundtracks. So, Bond Saved Me. A Blind Buy. Bought this one for a couple of things. One, the cover. The Wild Angels. I thought that was a cool cover. But also has Nancy Sinatra in it. And Fonda, Peter Fonda. But the soundtrack's pretty good. I don't even think Nancy Sinatra sings on it. David Allen and the Arrows. They do, I think, nearly all of the songs. They do all, well, there's a couple of tunes done by a group called the Hands of Time. But very good soundtrack. The Wild Angels. Glad I picked that one up. Number 19, soundtrack with multiple formats. I think I missed one in here. I know I did. The only one I had, Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine. This is the only one I have with 2 formats of it. When I was getting into the CDs, I bought this one and already had the vinyl. So the one, where did I? The one I missed was a soundtrack that we wished would be released on vinyl, reissued or released on vinyl. If it's never been on vinyl, issued on vinyl, or if it has been but it's old and we would like to see it reissued. But I went with the one that's not on vinyl, according to Discogs. It's not anyway. That Thing You Do. I like this. Good little quirky, that 50s, 60s, early 60s, 50-ish type songs and sounds. And like I've said before, I grew up listening to that 50s music. So this was right up my alley on the type of music. Last one, soundtrack that lifts my mood. This is one I was glad to pick up. This was from BCLT, Eddie and the Cruisers, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. I love that song, Dark Side. On the Dark Side. Very good song. Great movie too. To me, it's kind of a more modern version of what happened to Jim Morrison, maybe. The big question is, did he die or did he just disappear? So kind of leaves you with that kind of a attitude. But anyway, there's my 2022 soundtrack vinyl tag. Hope you enjoy it. Leave me your comments. Tell me what you think about some of the ones I did. If you like it, hit that like button. And until next time, keep them spinning.